I'm not the type of person that likes to, as the British might say, take the piss out of somebody. I'm not really the kind that points my finger and laughs at people. Sometimes in passing I'm blowing steam and I will say something about somebody if they're annoying me, and that kind of thing. But my sis and I have met some really strange folks that just have ideologies and outlooks on life that really go against the grain with anything, that seems, for lack of a better term, normal to us. And we're definitely not normal, whatever that is. The people who use that term are usually looking at people like my sis and I like we're aliens, and we feel like we're aliens to begin with on this planet. I mean, one thing where it's always been sketchy at best is people who have a really sort of devout, mindless, almost religious sort of obsession. And my sis, there was a while back where through our mother's former boyfriend at the time of her passing, he kind of stuck around a little bit with us, and eventually we parted ways. But he was really close with this pastor and wife in a church in town who wanted to set my sis up with a sort of gal pal, someone closer to her age, get her out of the house and stuff like that. And I was all for that. And but little did we know that she came from a really just mental sort of religious background, to the point where the very first time I ever met this broad, she's coming to pick my sister up, and they're going to go out to like the county fair and have just a night of fun, go to a store and kind of browse, get to know each other, that kind of thing. And she comes over, and I'm watching Smallville at the time. This is how far back it goes. But I was watching like a new episode of Smallville, and she came in and she literally, shaded her eyes with her hand and was like, "Oh no, Superman, evil, evil." And I kind of laughed, and I was like, "Okay." I muted the TV, and I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And basically she regaled me with this story about how her parents considered comic books and Superman, the character by title, not just comic books in general, to be evil, to be a usurper of sort of the attentions God is warranted, and Jesus Christ, and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of just sat there like, hmm, okay. And then she went on about this thing, the kind of stuff they would display in that particular show, which I could agree with to a point. They, sort of the young sexuality of teenagers and stuff like that, overly sexualizing their characters, male and female alike. And I could see where she was coming from that point of view. But then she went on to tell the story about how she didn't like how her boyfriend tried to con her into getting pictures of them with cleavage showing and stuff like that. I'm like, lady, I really don't want to hear this. You're too young to begin with to be telling me this. And like, I was really uncomfortable. I kind of left the room and let my sister deal with her. Come to be told, days later, after she hung out with this family a couple more times, that I mean, really, just they go to the store and like she's talking about how white bread is the Jesus bread and raisin bread is the Ezekiel bread. And apparently there's even a sort of raisin bread or whatever, the kind you make raisin toast with and stuff like that, that actually has Ezekiel quotes from the Bible on it. And it's just like, so what the hell is a bagel? The Judas bread? I mean, I can't understand that kind of mentality where everything is God, 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 God. We have a neighbor who's kind of a little bit too overly, oh well, everything that is bad that's happening to me is God's plan. It's His plan to force humility upon me, and I'll be happy-go-lucky as long as I can still be conscious tomorrow, whether I'm starving and destitute and I've lost a limb. God's plan is what is happening, what is being enacted, and it's just like, that's where, basically that's where I have to leave it with stuff like that.